All right. So welcome back to Influential Dental, where we are bringing on some of the most influential people in the dental space in the world. And we are so excited to have Rob Woolley join us today from Hu-Friedy. And Michael Keeter, it's good to see you this morning. We are actually
Great to be here.
podcasting live in the Pearl Pod, which is awesome. If you are not at this event right now at Dykema, then you can't see how cool this vibe is because you're only going to see us on video. Those people who are here wandering around, we've heard a lot of feedback. It's kind of a cool vibe. Mike, how are you today?
Julieanne, this is amazing. And we want to thank our friends at Pearl for putting this on.
Not only Pearl, but American Dental Institute also, who is our collaborator on this podcast. So we're super excited to be here. So Rob, welcome.
Well, thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Yeah. Now, I know that you are not new to podcasting because you hold high-powered positions, but we would love to dive into who you are and what you're all about. So we obviously know the company that you work for. It's massive. It's massively successful. You are featured right now in Influence Magazine. As you have seen, it is everywhere at Dykema right now. And so you not only have an article, but also Hu-Friedy itself is also in here. And we've read the article. It's incredible. And it sounds like you guys are doing a lot of incredible things. But tell us about you.
Yeah. So interestingly enough, I am back home. I grew up here in Colorado.
Oh, okay.
And so, it's good to be back home. My family moved away, so I don't get back here very often. But I grew up in Boulder, Colorado.
Oh, really?
And yeah, I love the mountains. I love the Midwest and Western United States. And yeah, it's great to be back.
Amazing.
And you had quite a journey, though, because we were just talking earlier off camera, and you're relocating back from being out of Colorado or Utah for a while.
Yeah. So I was, I've lived in Switzerland for almost 20 years. So believe it or not, born in the United States, lived most of my life in the United States, but I also lived 20 years.
Tell us about that. What was it like going to Switzerland? I've always wanted to go to Switzerland.
So Switzerland reminds me of Boulder, Colorado.
Really?
40 years ago. Colorado's changed a lot, right? There's been a lot of people move in here. And so it's mountains. It's a lot greener, less global warming there. We'll see how long that lasts.
Yeah.
I love the mountains. I love the outdoors. I love nature. I love people. I love to see what nature does to people.
So how do you balance that? Do you, spend some time each day? Do you spend some time each week? Do you do both? How do you balance the business life and nature? It's such a reset. I know nature is sometimes it's like 30 seconds outside brings me back to life. But of course we need more than that. So
So I love early mornings. So I love to see the sunrise. And so I try and get my nature early morning before all the hustle and bustle of life. I also have 5 kids, right? Busy. Not only is it a busy business life, but there's a busy family life.
So 5 children, boys, girls?
So 3 girls, 2 boys.
I have 3 girls, but no 2 boys.
There you go. Well,
I have 1 and 1. So
1 and 1.
Yeah.
It's a good dynamic. So we, they're getting older now. So half of them are here in the United States. The other half we're still waiting on Swiss citizenship. So they're in Switzerland. So I spend quite a bit of time back and forth. Hu-Friedy is global in nature, and we have a pretty big European team. So.
Yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit about that. And obviously you have a busy personal life. And before we get a little bit more into Hu-Friedy and kind of about your article, because it is pretty amazing, kind of your vision of what it is. But how do you balance that home life and to be a successful executive who's a world traveler? How do you do that balance?
Yeah, I think there was the old concept of work-life balance. I don't think it holds.
Right.
I think in life you have to have work-life integration, right? And we've talked in the intro about your values, and I try and live a value-centered life and a purpose-centered life, and I think that's the key to have an integrated life. Try not to have too much compartmentalization because it's pretty hard to live life.
So we do a lot of elite team training, and I private coach high achievers, and one of the things that we see, we'll go into these environments and these dental practices, and sometimes they're telling people, just leave all your home life at home. Don't bring that to work. And we always kid around. We're like, that's like cutting off your left arm. I mean, we're one human, and we're whole with all these things that we carry. So, what would you tell people who really have that philosophy that you need to separate those?
Yeah. I can only talk about my personal experience.
Yeah.
I've tried to compartmentalize in life, and it doesn't work for me. I have to be living consistent with my values, whether it's at home or at work. And sometimes that creates conflict at work. Sometimes it creates conflict at home, but it's the only way that I can live an integrated life. And so I just try and be as consistent as I can. None of us are ever going to completely achieve that, but we got to live an integrated life from my perspective.
Yeah, I love that. Where did you come from? What is your background?
Yes. So it's interesting. So as I mentioned, grew up here in Colorado. My mother was a school teacher, a music teacher, and my father was a human resource leader for a company based here in Colorado. And so I kind of got a very unique dynamic where my mother, if you were to meet her, she's the most loving and kind and compassionate person in the world. And I know everyone says that about their mother, but she is. But my father was like the super organized HR leader where we would have family planning sessions every Sunday night, right? We'd have our SMART goals from the age of like 8, what our objectives were being. So I got a really, I couldn't have asked for a better family life growing up. Life brings its challenges. It didn't necessarily pan out the way you necessarily want it to in your life, but I couldn't have asked for a better childhood that kind of shaped me. And part of it is they influenced me to kind of follow my dreams. And so as a young kid, I was always curious about how the world worked and also how people worked. And so I wanted to become an engineer. And so wanted to design and innovate.
And you did, or you went to school to be an engineer?
I did, yeah. And that's ultimately what led me to healthcare and led me to dental, right? Because there's just so much opportunity to innovate and going back to purpose and living an integrated life. I love waking up every morning knowing that I work with people that are designing, innovating, and commercializing technology and workflows and solutions that improve people's lives. And so that's kind of been my calling in life and why I've spent time in healthcare.
So your article specifically talks about several things that you guys are doing at Hu-Friedy, and it includes education. It's not just what you sell, it's so many other things. And you specifically acknowledge all of that. And it was like, I think you talked about 4 different things or more that you guys are focusing on. And tell us a little bit about that and what you guys are doing.
So I think if you don't mind, I'll take a little bit of a step back because a lot of my career has been working with companies that are pretty product focused to start with. And what I've tried to do from a leadership perspective is really take things and move them beyond a widget and a product and incorporate it into people's lives, in business terms, jobs to be done that make a difference. So what we're really trying to do, we have, at Hu-Friedy Group, we have a lot of different products and we're known as, a leader in instruments, but that's an instrument, right? You need a solution behind it and use an instrument just like you would use you're trying to get a hole when you're using a drill to create a hole. That's a tool. It's an instrument to get there. Ultimately, what you're trying to do is create a solution that gets a job to be done. And in our case, in healthcare, we get to do that with patients and get to improve people's lives.
Yeah. And I agree with that. And I appreciate that. And that is so nice that thought process to really go beyond on a simple product and the company itself. You talked about your values and how you lead your life personally. How do you see that as the leader of the company? Was Hu-Friedy Group already that type of company that you aspire to be, or are you having to, bring some of your experiences in there to?
Yeah. So I think I mentioned how I love to study how things work. I also love to study how people work. And so one of the things I've loved living in Europe, I lived in Switzerland for 20 years. You're at the epicenter of Europe. And so you have the Germans, you have the Swiss, you have the French, you have the Italians. And one of the things I've really loved about that is learning to take the best from all those different cultures and combine them together, right? And I think that's what I try and do because I've worked for a lot of different companies. I haven't stayed in one spot. And what I've tried to do is take these nuggets of the culture of every company and build on it. And I think to your question, Hu-Friedy has so many of those elements. I mean, we're, family owned for over 100 years, which is pretty unique. I remember the first time I walked into the Hu-Friedy factory, it actually reminded me of Switzerland. It's an interesting place. We're subsequently moving from there, but you walk into, it's almost downtown Chicago. And I felt like I was walking into the United Nations. And you had 4 generations of families from Colombia, the Iraqi family. You had the Vietnamese. It is literally like the US melting pot. And those are employees that are making our products. not in China, not in Vietnam, in downtown Chicago.
That's amazing. So you have built a pretty extraordinary team. And I know we don't have a lot of time, but this is something that's, obviously high priority to us. I'm going to be talking about what high performers do different from others today on the main stage at Dykema. But I'm always curious. So you're a high performer, and how do you draw out of your people their talents, their desire to perform and still simultaneously enjoy their lives? Like, what do you do?
Yeah, so I think a lot of it, and we could talk about the differences between like a publicly traded company and a private equity company. And this has been a little bit of a new experience for me in private equity. I think similar to what I talked about Switzerland and different companies that I've worked with, I'm a big believer. It's a Confucius methodology. What he said, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Right. And so I really try and find people that are really good at certain things. And I fundamentally believe if you get a team that is diverse with different experiences and different viewpoints, you're always going to arrive at a better outcome if you just have a team of superstars.
So in so doing that, you're basically just allowing them to do what they do well, what they maybe love to do, would you say? And so they've already come with this expertise, and you're sort of allowing them to live into that.
Yeah. Yes. I think in the environment that we're currently in at Hu-Friedy Group, being private equity backed, you do need, I call them corporate athletes. You need people that have diverse experiences across different functions, different geographies, that can give different perspectives and can move and pivot, right? So it's World Cup season, right? You want people that can play on multiple parts of the pitch. And that's really what I try and hire. They have unique skills to play the position that they're in, but they can flex and move on different parts.
That's amazing. I think that is so important. I know we only have a couple minutes, and I wish we had more time, and we would love to have you back. What would you say to our audience? You had a wide range of experiences. You lived all over the world. You're the CEO of a very successful company that's continuing on the rise, being 100 years old, but I think you probably have 100 years plus in you. What would you say, I guess, to the Hu-Friedy family, as well as to those out there on what to look forward to moving forward in the dental space, into healthcare moving forward?
Yeah, there's just so much opportunity, right? You look at dental compared to other parts of medical technology. There's just such an opportunity. Part of that's due to inefficiency, being very open, right? I think we need to be more efficient in the dental space, both on innovation, how we commercialize, and then how we treat patients. It's not as efficient as other areas in healthcare. And so with inefficiency comes opportunity and comes growth. And I think specifically in the United States of America, we need to make sure that we treat dental care as part of overall healthcare. And that's not that way everywhere around the world. They treat it as part of overall healthcare.
And we are in kind of that golden age of going there with AI and the mouth, body connection and everything else. And I'm sure you're doing that and seeing that at Hu-Friedy, and how you guys can continue to rise as well.
Great. Yeah, so we really, really appreciate you coming on. I feel like we could probably talk for a good hour, maybe more. I don't even think we've scratched the surface with who you are, and super thankful. Thank you so much. I know that your co-partner over here, who nobody else can see on camera, Stoff,
we'll give him a shout.
Brought you in the pod today. Did he give you warning, by the way, before you got drug in here? Or?
I didn't know it was going to be this pod. The company has been so great that I can be in any pod. So
amazing. Thank you so much. I want to give a shout out and thank our listeners. We really appreciate everybody tuning in to hear a little of the behind the scenes of these incredible humans. We're really impressed by everything you're doing with this company, and can't wait to see what you do over the next year, and see you back at Dykema next year again, where I'm sure we'll be doing this again. Last words.
Thank you, Julieanne, and thank you as well. How can people reach Hu-Friedy if they have any questions or needs? And
first thing, we just launched our new website as part of the new Hu-Friedy Group, so you can reach us out on Hu-Friedy Group. We're on most social media platforms, so follow us. And I'm active on LinkedIn. So if you want to reach out to me directly on LinkedIn,
So we should definitely make sure we take a selfie photo here in a minute, and then get it on the leaderboard out there, right?
There we go.
All right. So
thank you to Pearl.
Yeah, a huge shout out to Pearl for putting together this incredible pod that we're in right now. And again, thank you guys for being on the show today.
Thank you, Julieanne.
Take care.
Appreciate it. Thank you.